Well, uh, like this is a hard day to talk about this, obviously. But Adam was a strong kid, so I'm going to be trying to be strong for him, and I'll tell you about him. Adam was a small town kid. Like he loved his small town roots, and he was humble kid, humble to almost to a fault maybe at times, and a very passionate in sports, passionate in all the things he did, but he never forgot where he came from or who his friends were or who got him where he got to in life. And yeah, he was just everybody's friend because he was easy to get along with, and non-judgmental, and just one of those guys that everybody wanted to hang out with. Not a boisterous guy, just a leader. And one of his mottos, I think, in life was, lead by example. Not, he wanted to be a leader that was known by what quiet actions on the ice or in what he did, not being a boisterous kind of guy that way. So, and he loved sports. He loved the outdoors. He was a hunter. He was a snowmobiler, an avid snowmobiler. We did lots of that. He loved the water sports. His sister and our whole family, we loved to be on the water. He wakeboarded. This was his birthday present. His birthday's this Thursday, and we was gonna try surfing this summer. He was looking really forward to that. We camped at the lake, and we recently bought a cabin a year ago, and that was Adam's real love. He really loved the quiet, peaceful setting of the Capel Valley and being on the water. And I guess just stop for a minute.
Yeah.
Am I getting off track?
No, it's okay. He was a captain on almost every team he played on.
He was, and Adam was the captain, I think, and he became the captain on every team he played on, just for the fact that he was a good player, but that wasn't the reason he became the captain. I think he just was a leader just by his quiet actions, and he would not hesitate to pick up stuff and load the bus and help guys out. And he wasn't one of those guys to point fingers and talk guys down. He tried to lead by example, and just a true friend. And I think that's why people endeared themselves to him, and he became the leader and became the captain of the teams that he was on. And hockey's it's become a big part of our whole family's life because and he's not just a hockey player. Like, that's why I tried to say the other things that he did in life, but he's played on a lot of teams. He left home here in his second year of Adam. He played in Weyburn for 3 years. He played in Prairie Storm for 2 years, and then he played Pat Canadians for the last 2 years. He was a PA Raider prospect and very likely would have been playing with them next year. And SJHL, Humboldt had signed him as an AP player, and he went there for the playoffs this year with them. And we've met so many great people through Adam and because of Adam with hockey, like friends that we'll have for life, and friends that he had for life. And we've done so much with them, sports and non-sports and holidays and whatever. And it's I mean, it kind of was our life. We followed him around, and it's he's met so many people and had so many things open to him because of it. And now I guess that's taken away, and we hope like he had a chance to really make his mark and be somebody in life, and you just hope that it's not forgotten now on the side of a road.
I think he did. Everyone I've talked to, everything I've seen, everything I've read, I haven't seen a bad word about Adam. I've seen praise from all over the country, from teammates, from people we met in town. He seemed to have an impact on just about everybody he met. Is that the kind of guy he was?
Oh, he was. I think. I mean, if you talk to any of his coaches, and not even like hometown coach, hometown coach. I guess I was mainly his coach, but when he went away, he was so so coachable, and wanted to learn, and attentive, and a true teammate. That's what endeared himself to the coaches. And I mean, I guess if he had any faults on the ice in hockey, his smarts, his hockey sense, and it's just his desire to win his desire to compete overshadowed some of that maybe. And that's why he became a captain on every team he was on, I think. Well, and he would. I mean, he'd play a game, and he a lot of times would be matched up against the better player on the other team, and so they'd have some real battles in the game. And he had one of those this year with Braden Tracy, who was a top draft pick for the Moose Jaw Warriors in the Max tournament, and Braden and himself, battled hard the whole game, and it's a tough game, and in the end when it's all over, tap on the shin pads and good game, and he says, that guy's not such a bad guy. He's a good guy, Dad. And that's just the way he was. He never took grudges off the ice. It was all left on the ice, and that's how he was. That's how he treated his teammates. There might, at times there's maybe players somewhere along the line, they're not your best friend, but you respect them as a person and a teammate, and that's how he was. He didn't judge anybody, and he was just humble.
Norm was telling me this story that he was Adam was really looking forward to quadding this summer. That he loved getting out on the quad. You just tell me a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, that comes back to small town roots and being a farm boy and driving a quad and he'd go around and play in the mud, and his friends got quads, so it's a chance to just get away from the city, from the asphalt, because gone away and billeting. He's been living away from home, so you don't get that chance to be outdoors, and it's just, he loved being in the outdoors and being on the quad and getting dirty. That was just part of being a farm boy, and that's what he was at heart, was a farm boy. One day he may have come back to the farm. It's hard to say. He was quieter, but I think all his friends would say he wasn't quiet once they got to know him. Like he was just quiet maybe outwardly when you first met him, because he was not a boisterous kid or that kind of thing. But being the fact that he had had billets in PA and Humboldt and Regina, played on so many different teams and so many spring hockey teams, he's met so many different kids, and a lot of the teams that he played on, he was that farm kid. Like you're playing on city teams, and he was that farm kid, so he didn't go there knowing a lot of people, so he had to make friends, and that's kind of how Adam kind of endeared himself to people, I think, over the years, because he got so used to being the outside kid that he just became everybody's friend wherever he played.
Tell me about watching him in the barn in here, growing up in that naturalized rink. I mean, that's one of a kind. It must have been a treat just to watch him play as a kid.
Oh yeah, and he loved playing in our little rink, and if there was all kinds of ice time in those days, and because you didn't have a bunch of kids on your team. You had the one year they won the league, they only had 10 players on their team, so he loved being at home and playing with his friends. That meant everything to him. But as you get older and you want to move on to more competitive, that meant he had to move away, and that was tough at first. But he had that desire to go further, and if you want to move on, that's most times that means moving away.
The school's wearing green on Monday in memory. Why green? Do you know?
Well, I would think they're probably wearing green for Humboldt. I think that's respect to Humboldt. I see on social media there's a Jersey Day on Thursday the 12th, which just coincides actually with Adam's birthday. He would have been 17 on Thursday. Yeah.
That's tough. You got the birthday gift all planned out. How are you? How are you handling it?
It's tough. It's my family's taking it pretty hard. There's only my wife Raylene and my daughter Erin and Adam in our family, like our close immediate family. So you get pretty tight knit. Adam and Erin were very tight together. Did lots of things at the lake together. We have pictures. They're both skiing behind the boat or whatever. So they're very tight knit, and our life revolved really around him. Erin was very involved in Adam's life. She followed his hockey, and a lot of the spring hockey was turned into a family vacation. We'd make it into that. So she's always been involved in his life, and my wife, and it was a focus for us in the wintertime to follow it around, a passion of ours. And Erin, I think, enjoyed that as well. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough because that obviously is not going to be there from now on. It's a void we're going to have to fill somehow.
Norm was saying Adam had a real place in the community. It was almost a community event to watch him go on and to follow his journey and see all the amazing things that he was doing. Is that the kind of impact he had here?
Oh, I believe it is, and I think that's ties back into his never losing track of his roots. Like I think he still has good contact with a lot of his close friends, and I think that's why, you know, they knew how genuine he was. You know, he'd have friends that, and one of his close friends, real close friends, dad asked us just the other day, "How is Adam doing in hockey?" Anyways, we haven't heard, and he said Jacob talks to him every night, but they don't talk hockey. And that's just the way Adam was. He was more concerned about Jacob as a friend than, you know, wanting to sound boisterous or anything about his own hockey. He was a friend, and that's why I think his friends genuinely loved him and followed him.
If you could describe Adam in a sentence, how would you describe him?
Strong, humble, passionate, and everyone's best friend.